Hello. It is Tuesday at 11:30 p.m. Pacific time, and that means it's Template Tuesday time. And today, because we didn't post our Template Tuesday until later last night, we didn't get a bunch of responses about what you guys were looking for. So I am making it up today, and I thought that it would be interesting actually to move on to some campaign templates today. Reason being that a lot of the functionality of Ontrapages has been covered in previous Template Tuesdays, and and you can go back and view those. I don't know if you're aware of this, but if you go into the Ontraport community on the left-hand side on Facebook, there's, I think it's called Units maybe, and the old Template Tuesday videos are all there for you to watch. And in those, I've made videos of creating templates, showing you basically all the various features of the platform over the several weeks we've done this. And we even got into building a membership sort of site out of Ontrapages a couple of weeks ago. And I feel like, kind of going over the same thing with the templates is a bit of overkill, although I'm happy to do it if you guys still have questions in future weeks. But this week I thought it would be worth it to go over one of the most powerful, but I think underused parts of the system, which is tasks and task outcomes. And the best way to demonstrate that is with sales lead management, because that's what they're for. Tasks in Ontraport are a little bit different than tasks in other sort of task management systems like Asana or something like that. In project management systems, tasks are always kind of like one-off. Like, hey, John, go do this, and then John presumably does it and he checks it off, and they're kind of like ad hoc, one-off to-do list items. And in Ontraport, tasks are conceived pretty differently. Ontraport is about automation. It's about process management. And so tasks traditionally have not been used as much for kind of one-off to-do list items, and more to alert somebody that their part in a process is now ready to be taken on and completed. And so a process is designed in advance, and when it's time for human interaction in a process, then a task is sent out to the human, and the human then completes the task. And if you think about why you want humans involved in a process, right? Like many processes can be handled with emails and SMS messages and web pages and stuff like that. Just kind of like public messaging, general messaging. But sometimes it makes more sense, of course, to get a person involved. That is when you want to have a more personal conversation. You want to have a sales call. You want to follow up on a lead. You want to call up somebody whose credit card keeps declining. Whatever it might be. It's time to get a human on the phone. And very often, when you get a human on the phone or doing a particular part of a process, it's not just the human touch, but also the human is gathering information. Your sales rep is getting on the phone, and they're talking to somebody, and they're not just talking, they're also listening, and the information that they gather in those calls is useful to direct what happens next for that particular prospect. For example, if you call somebody up and they say, I don't know how you got my number, don't ever call me again, you probably want to do something different than if they say, oh, thanks for calling, I'm really interested. I just need to, talk to my business partner about the details, and can you call me back in a week? So those are, two very different responses, and you'll want to have your sales rep capturing that information in a way that that changes what happens next to that particular prospect, and of course, you can do it all manually if you use a system like Pipedrive or most CRM systems. The sales process is left up to the whims of a sales rep, and that sales rep is basically tasked with managing all their leads, and they do the best they can with whatever kind of ad hoc process they create. And I think that explains in significant part the vast discrepancies we see in the effectiveness of a sales rep, right? Some sales reps are really good and close a lot of deals, and others are not so good and don't do so well over time. And some of that can be explained by their follow-up process and whether or not they're actually following up with people. And so it probably behooves you, it certainly has behooved us to manage the sales process sort of more formally for our salespeople, and to not have them kind of like doing whatever they want to do willy-nilly, but instead, creating a real formal process and helping them using the tools that we have to make sure they're not dropping any balls and that they are following up with all their leads appropriately. And so I want to kind of walk through a little bit. This isn't exactly our campaign map, but I want to show you we built a campaign map that reflects our process, and I think going through it will help you understand a little bit more about what's possible with a system like this. So I'm going to just kind of dive in here and show you how this works. So I just click New Campaign, and excuse me, I've had this cough I've been nursing for a while now. So excuse me for coughing in your ears. Let's see, lead. Let's see what happens if I search for lead. Salesforce automation, simple. Here it is, basic lead routing and follow-up. And then let's see, it's not here. Salesforce. Salesforce automation, dispatch and follow-up. So we got these two campaigns here. One is called basic lead routing and follow-up. They're not terribly different, but we use this one up here called dispatch and follow-up. And the reason is, so the difference between the two is that when a lead comes in this basic lead routing and follow-up, it just basically uses Ontraport's lead router and assigns the lead to one of the sales reps and tasks them to follow up. And that certainly works, and it is fine for some situations, but we also know that the faster we follow up with a sales lead, the more likely we are to actually get a hold of that person, right? If you wait a day to follow up with a sales lead, they may have moved on and found another solution already, or gotten distracted or whatever. But if you can follow up within minutes or within an hour, you're dramatically more likely to actually get that person on the phone and have a valuable conversation. The problem with lead routing is that not all sales reps are at work all the time. And they have days off, they have shifts, and if you assign a lead, you might get a hot lead that gets assigned to somebody who's out for a 4-day weekend, and then you got a hot lead sitting there for 5 days without getting responded to, and then of course they get back to work on Monday or Tuesday or whatever, and they're buried. So it might be 5, 6, 7 days before somebody gets followed up with. And that's just not acceptable for a business like ours, and probably not for a business like yours. So we use a modified lead routing system where we actually manually dispatch leads. So what happens is we have well, I'll show you. We're going to install this thing. And so this says we're adding the content here. So we just say okay, and that says campaign is ready. We'll start editing this campaign, and we'll look at what we have here. So you see we've got this sophisticated campaign, and we'll just walk through what the heck is happening here. And I think it'll give you some interesting ideas about how to think about managing your process. So add here when the contact record is first created. That's actually probably not what we would do. I'd want to, because we, contacts get created from imports. All of a sudden you're going to have 1,000 contacts get created here. I would probably have this be form is filled out, and it's the demo request form. And this is not, of course, our actual main account. This is my kind of mess around account. So the stuff's not all going to be there, but contact submits demo request form. Okay, so that happens. And what we're going to do at that point is we're going to update the contact owner to a user that is what we consider to be the dispatch user. And so this is actually explaining kind of what I already told you here. But in our dispatch process, we have someone assigned to dispatch, and they watch for new leads. So basically, the owner is updated to admin in this case, but it could be to any particular dispatch user that everybody has the login for. And so what we do is when we have a shift, at any particular point in the day, one of our sales reps is assigned to be the dispatcher, and they are typically not taking calls at that time. They because you don't want your dispatcher kind of assigning the best leads to themselves. So what we do is we while you're on dispatch, you're handling inbound chats, you are responding to inbound tickets that our support team has handed over, you're maybe following up with your leads via email, you are kind of managing other stuff, but you're not doing lead follow-up on the phone during your dispatch hours. And but what you do is you keep an eye on the dispatch thing, and on our account. And when a new lead comes in, you take a look at the lead and you assign it to one of the reps. And you would assign it to one of the reps who is most appropriate to take that call at the moment. So, if the rep is across the world, we have salespeople that can take a call in Australia, but we also have people here in the States that are maybe on a call and not appropriate, or we have certain reps that are trained in managing enterprise level accounts, and so you want to make sure that those leads that look like they may be enterprise level leads are handed to those reps, whatever it is that it makes sense for your process. The dispatcher knows kind of who to hand a lead to at any particular time. And so that's what happens, is that it gets updated to the dispatch. The dispatch sits there and looks at, of course, we could notify somebody if we wanted to. Come in here, we can actually notify, with an email. We can notify somebody. We would notify the contact's owner. So we've set it up to owner. Notify the contact's owner with an email, something like that. Whatever it is that says, "Hey, dispatcher, you just got a new lead. Check it out." You might want to do that. If you do, otherwise, our people don't bother with that. We just keep an eye on the collection and refresh it every few minutes and see what's come in. And so basically the lead comes through here, they fill out the request, they get their owner changed to the dispatch user, and then they sit here and wait. And then there's a goal. And what is the What is the goal? Well, the goal is simple. It's when the owner is updated. And, and so as soon as the dispatcher assigns the lead to somebody else, what the dispatcher is going to do is change the owner to the appropriate sales rep. And so that this goal is going to trigger immediately. Now, you might think, hey, wait a minute. The owner was updated at this step. Why wouldn't the goal be achieved immediately? Well, the reason is because who can achieve this goal? Well, it should be only contacts on the previous wait. So that actually should be set that way already. That's how you handle that, though. So basically, if the contact is not sitting here at the wait, then they can't trigger this particular goal. So they got to be sitting here. So the owner gets updated. They sit here at this wait, and then the second time the owner gets updated, when they're sitting here at this wait, then this thing will be achieved, and down they go. And at this point, we're going to create a task, and the task is going to basically go out to the new sales rep. It's going to be assigned. We can preview this task, and it says it's due immediately. Please contact this lead. It says name, first name, last name, company, office phone, email, website. When you're done, complete the task and tell us what happened. And what you can see here is that this task has task outcomes, 5 of them. And when that user completes the task, they're taken to a screen that says what happened on this task, and there's a little drop down, and they have to select one of these options. No contact, left a message. Connected, but they're not qualified. Connected, but they're not interested. Connected, and they want to be followed up with. And then bad contact info like spam, right? And so those are the 5 things that typically happen. There's also a form to be filled out on task completion, which is called next follow-up date. Very simple form. It's just the next date that we want to follow up with this particular lead. So they say, a lot of times they'll say, hey, thanks for calling. I got a quick question. We answer their question. We say, cool, you ready to sign up? They say, no, I need to think about it, or I got to get my stuff together. Give me a call in a couple of weeks. Cool, we want to be able to make sure we do that. So when they complete the task, they say, in that case, they would say connected, follow up, and then they would set the next follow-up date, and then complete. The task would be completed. So that's basically what happens here. So the task is assigned, and then the contact is sitting here at the wait. Now, here you see something interesting. Here we have 5 goals all in a row here, sitting underneath this wait. You can add these goals here by adding on either side, and of course you can reorder them by clicking these arrows here. And what this means is that any one of these goals, any one of these actions here can be achieved, and once it is achieved, they're going to move down this path. So excuse me. So what we have here is task is completed, 5 different task is completed goals. And the task says what, let's see, only task on the previous wait should be triggering this thing. And then we'll move them here when this is achieved, right? We're going to move the task here. And what is the task? When this particular task, new lead notification, is completed with the outcome follow up. Okay, or this one over here is new lead notification is completed with no contact, left a message. And so you can see, basically what is happening here. So let's see what happens next. Then not interested, and that's the end of the campaign. Not qualified, that's the end. Bad contact info, that's the end. Of course, you could do more stuff here. If they're not interested, you might send them an email saying, hey, thanks for chatting. I got that it doesn't look like a match right now, but we're standing by to help any of your friends that may be a better match. Keep us in mind. Here's my number. Something like that might be a worthwhile email to send. But at any rate, here we go. So the task is completed, and next outcome is that it's time to follow up. So they move down to this wait here. It says wait 0 days until next follow-up day is at 6 a.m. in my time zone. So this is just basically saying, hey, these guys asked me to follow up with them in 2 weeks, like I said. And so this is going to wait until 2 weeks passes, and whatever date that the user set in their next follow-up date, and then it's going to assign another follow-up task. Say, hey, follow up again with this person, and then the process is basically repeated. Of course, we don't have the bad contact info outcome here anymore because we already got a hold of them, and then on we go. So this is extremely basic, and a ton could be added to this process to help you manage what happens. For example, in our process, we have a couple of additional task outcomes. One of them is, for example, committed to buy. So they say, and it's not that different what happens here, but it reminds our sales reps that this person said, yes, I'm going to purchase. I just need to get my stuff together. I'm going to buy in a couple of weeks or whatever it is, and it'll remind the sales rep, hey, this person said they were going to buy. Check and see if they did, and if they didn't. Actually, we check automatically for them. So they said they would buy within 2 weeks, and if 2 weeks goes by and that person has not signed up yet, then the sales rep is tasked again to follow up with that person. So that's an example of an addition that we've made. Another thing that we've done here is that we use our card view and to just display contacts that are moving through our process. We actually don't use our deals functionality, and the reason for that is that our process is simpler. We don't typically manage. You would use deals if you have one of two situations that are B2B like situations. One of them is if you have multiple people that are associated with a particular deal and you want to keep track of all the players that are involved, and that just isn't our situation. We almost always deal with one buyer, and we just follow up with one buyer, and so we don't need that complication of kind of tracking multiple kind of stakeholders in a purchase decision. And then the other situation is that if you have multiple opportunities with the same buyer, like they're thinking about buying this and they're thinking about buying that, which would happen in larger enterprise deals. Again, that doesn't really apply to us. We basically are talking to them about Ontraport, and they either buy it or they don't, and we don't need to manage multiple opportunities with a particular lead. So we just use contacts as our way of managing the process, but we do use card view in contacts, and so what we do is we have a field called status, which is the same one that's built into your account probably. If you've in most cases it's built into your account. Some older accounts don't have it built in, but you can certainly create a field. And it's called status or something like that, and our statuses are new lead, demo scheduled, consideration, committed, purchased. And so basically a new lead comes in, and before we've talked to them, they are in the new lead category, and then once we've gotten them to schedule a demo, they're in the demo scheduled status, and then after the demo is done, they either said, no, I'm not interested, they said, I'm going to think about it, or they said, I'm going to purchase, I just haven't yet. So that's basically lead lost, or they're committed or they're considering. And so we keep track of those. And so what we would do here is we would have a form on completion that after a demo is done. So when the demo is done, we would say, hey, sales rep, what happened on this demo? And it would be just like this, right? So demo is assigned, and then there'd be a task that is another task that's assigned to them on demo day, and they wait here, and then it would basically say, there'd be task outcomes for this demo. And I'm sure that this is, actually I can show you, I'm sure we have this process in here. I probably already have installed it, so I won't do it fresh. Yeah, demo request follow-up. So here's how this looks. It's they fill out the demo form. This is all the stuff managing the demo time, sending a confirmation email. And then here's that task I was just talking about. Hey, you did a demo. How did it go? And then it waits for a day for the sales rep to tell us how it went. Demo done with outcome committed to buy, or demo done with follow-up later, or demo done with no show, demo done with not interested, or demo done with bad lead. So these are the possibilities, and here's exactly what we do. So it says update sales pipeline to committed, update sales pipeline to follow up, updates, and this one just says, hey, sorry, I missed you, let's reschedule, and it goes back up here and does their demo follow-up management process. And then, not interested. This is, hey, in fact, there's the email I was talking about before. Thanks for your time. Let me know if anyone who might be a better match email. And then bad lead, and then we opt them out here. And so let's see. When we have this thing situated like this with sales pipeline to committed, sales pipeline to follow up, what's really cool is that then our sales reps can go in here and they can look at the contacts, and they can look at their sales pipeline and in card view. And here it is. Demo requested, demo booked, follow up, committed, bad lead, won, purchased. And so our sales reps can see exactly what's going on, and they don't actually ever need to move these around, because these cards are automatically moved around for them when they complete their tasks and fill out those forms and tell us what happened on the task. If they said, well, this guy is committed, this card's going to automatically, in fact, I can show you it happening right now. Sales stage, what is it? Actually, what did I call that thing? This is card view sales pipeline. I can look in here. Field is sales pipeline. So if I go in here and sales pipeline and move that guy to committed, this is whatever test. You can come here and see that all of a sudden this is moved over to whatever test, and this person can, have a sense of how many people that they have in their committed category. Of course, if they want to just drag them around, they can do that too. Optionally, if you don't want them to do that, you can take that that ability away by simply removing their permission to edit the sales pipeline field. So let's see. That is, pretty much how we manage our process. These color bars here are customizable by you. In this particular case, they reflect time since last activity, which is a field that we've created. And what happens here is if the contacts are engaging with our website, with our emails, then they have a field in here called time since last activity that, or it's probably last activity date. I don't even know. Let's see if we can find the field. Deal priority. Yeah, I don't know where it even is right now. let's see. I don't really, time since last activity. Here it is. So more than a month ago, this person, it's been a while since this person has engaged with us. And you can see now that that will show up as blue here. And that field is not something you manage manually. It's managed by a campaign that's done automatically. So time since, and we'll find this color field, time since last activity. And this is just really simple. When last activity is updated, the contact, that field is flipped to hot, and then a day later it's flipped to this week, and then 6 days later it's flipped to time since this month, and then more than a month is flipped to cold. And so if you this thing isn't published in my account, but if I published it, then all my contacts would end up with these colors, and you'd be able to see, for example, if you've got somebody committed who just showed up on your website today, because their little color bar would be red, that might be somebody worth picking up the phone and calling, or somebody is falling out and they haven't visited us in a month. Maybe you put them back on a long-term lead nurture campaign. Whatever makes sense for your process. So hopefully this conversation is worthwhile for you. Hopefully it has you understand a little bit more about how we envision sales processes being managed, how we manage our own sales process, what tasks are for, why we built CardView, even a little bit about what color fields are for. This stuff is already in your account. It's been in your account for a long time, these campaign templates. So and they're here when you just click new campaign. If you're not aware, we have all these templates, and you can view them by type. For example, sell and deliver, so that you'll find these, Salesforce automation, dispatch and follow-up, all these things are here in the sell and deliver phase of the buying cycle. And you can just install these. They've got instructions on the right on how to implement them. And of course, we're always here in the Facebook community to shoot the breeze with you and discuss your ideas and how you might implement them using the tools that you've got in your Ontraport account. Cool. Well, thanks. I hope this has been useful, and we will check you next week at Templates Tuesday.